Should we go our self-development path alone, or is it better to have a partner? Could a partner be even an inspiration or a motivational aspect in meditation when he's also a meditator? Or could a partner even be an obstacle on our path to the higher self? This and more questions we try to solve in this video. Everyone has different attitudes, knowledge, and lifestyle based on the one hand, upbringing, conditioning, the school, media, social media, digital media, whatever we can get on input. And on the other hand, also based on how far one is developed, how far one is already broken out of this media crap, or of his own upbringing, conditioning, how far one is developed. And when then two people meet and get a crush, what happens? Thinking and feeling is out of control. There is this period of time of crush where everything is fine, everything is running like a flow. Both of each other are very happy, and then the crush is over. From time to time it goes away. Everyday life comes, first strugglings, first troubles, first anger appears. Where does it come from? Basically, there are two aspects, thinking and feeling, which have influence on us, influence on our everyday life, influence on our partnership, on our relationship, on our work, on everything. And the more we have our feelings and thoughts under control, the better we can act in everyday life. But the less we have it under control, we just react on everything what happens to us, everything what others do with us. So actually we not really live when we don't have it under control, then we are lived from others. But you want to be alive, you want to live, you want to develop. That's why you are on this channel watching these videos, which learn you how to get more control about yourself, about your own mind, about your own thoughts, about your own feelings. And the basic aspect where thoughts and emotions are involved comes actually from relationships. And this is expectations. Expectations basically come from the mind as a thought, but also feelings are involved when the expectations aren't fulfilled. We have expectations to the partner. The partner doesn't fulfill the expectations. What happens? Disappointment. And all these negative emotions which are entangled with the disappointment. And we are entangled with the emotions, and we identify with the emotions. I am this angry person, or I am this sad person, or whatever happens. It makes our ego stronger, our wrong personality. But we want to develop our true personality, which is the highest self. And so it is better to not have expectations, or to have or reduce as much as you can your expectations. Then you will act not just in a partnership good, but also basically in relationships, in any kind of relationships, or with work colleagues, or anywhere. Unfortunately, this aspect we don't learn at school. This would be a better thing when they teach us at school how to deal with that. Some of you maybe have been some rebels, and that's good. So you learn already on schoolyard how to deal with your own emotions and thoughts, and it was acted out in a negative way. Also kind of a reaction, even if it appears like an action, but it's a reaction on an emotion when you hit someone. But you learn from this, but officially what happens in the classes, there you never learn how to deal with life, how to develop, how to truly develop. They just let you develop in your mind for calculation, for analytical thinking, that you can have a good job. But this will never help you for your self-development. And that's why we now sit here and work on our self-development. And that's why also we sit here, that we can have better relationships, better partnerships at the end. And then there is another big thing where, on the one hand, thoughts, and on the other hand, emotions are involved too. And this is a discrepancy between being self-determined on the one hand and dependency on the other hand. In worst case, a bad dependency, maybe you know this from many YouTube videos, not on this channel, but on other channels, people talk about narcissism. Narcissism is a very bad dependency because one is the master and the other one is an extreme devotion. It's not a true devotion, actually. It's just to underlie under the other person. It's a masochistic thing, actually. And that's a bad dependency. But basically, we have the tendency to dependency. That was a rhyme, but that's cool. Because it comes from upbringing. that we have this dependency. We had the dependency, even actually not just from upbringing, actually it is rooted very deep in our soul, because we are all connected with each other and with God and deeper dimensions of this life. And so there is a dependency to a very deep thing, to the deepest thing of everything, and this is God actually. But when we are in upbringing, as substitute for God, we take the dependency to our parents. But there also is a relationship which never fulfills all of our needs, which never fulfills all of our expectations. And so that's why babies cry. And still, when we grow up, people create new dependencies. And when they are not on the way on self-development and they don't develop, they not become really mature. They just become mature on a certification from university or from school, but they not become really mature in their soul. Then they are dependent. They make themselves dependent from a partner, and that's not good. You can be dependent as a certain degree, but you don't have to give up your whole life, give up yourself just to be absolutely dependent. That's not good, because this person is not God. This person is just a substitute, and you shouldn't give yourself to the wrong thing, to a substitute. But on the other hand, there is self-determination. We want to be self-determined. We don't want that others determine us or determine things in our life. We also want to make own decisions for our everyday life or for anything. Sometimes we need some advice from a friend or from a partner, but sometimes we also make, at the end, always the own decision. But also in many things, we want to consider things for ourselves, and we want to make own decisions, and we want to think of life or of other things on our own way. So self-determination is very good. But it's an extreme case. Now, we are not absolutely self-determined, because we are always still living in a body, and this body has needs and is dependent from the world. So there must be a middle way between absolutely self-determined and absolutely dependent. And that's the next discrepancy, which also appears in partnerships and which also causes troubles on a thought level and on an emotional level. Example, you want to make your own decision and the thing, and your partner is always mixing in and want to give you advice, but you don't want the advice. Actually, you want to make your own consideration and your own decisions. And so that's a very small anger there. And the whole social level, not just in partnerships, but also in all relationships, is always just a substitute for the real relationship, for the real connectedness. Because social connectedness is just feeling good on an emotional level. But when you once have figured out that it's just causing bodily owned drugs, and people are sometimes even addicted, for example, when someone always strives for recognition from others, then he's addicted to this bodily owned drugs, which he gets when he gets recognition. But when once there is no recognition, then this person suffers because he was in a wrong relationship. On a social level, it's always just a substitute. You have to find your true self before it comes to God. God is very high, very deep inside of us. Most people don't even have the connection to God, or don't even want to know about God. There are many people who leave church or other religions which are not interested anymore in religion, because they can't grasp what God actually is, because that's too high, of course, because the ego never can grasp it, as well as the ego never can have a good relationship, because it's on the ego level. And this will never work, because ego has too much needs and expectations. Ego is thinking too much and feeling too much, or using emotions for the wrong things, and using especially more negative ones than good ones. And so this will never work. Also, the ego has no access to God. Ego can never grasp God. Many people try to think God, to think about God, to discuss about God. There are so many study branches where they always discuss about God and think about God. But that's never God. You can't never grasp God through thinking. And also not through feeling. Some people now say, "Oh, okay, thinking not, but I have good feelings for God." You can do it, but it's also just a substitute, because then you think just of God as a person, or of Jesus, or of something like this. Then you have these emotions. But it's a deeper level. You can also say deeper emotions, but then also maybe people can get it wrong. So let's forget emotions and thoughts, because this is belonging to the ego. There is kind of a deeper connectedness, which is very deep, which can't be even explained with words, because words are always dual. Because when I speak, I'm in duality. And when I'm in duality, always it is limited. And so even the words are limited to describe the extent of that connectedness, which you can experience through meditation when you're really connected with your higher self and with God from the inside. Then you also have good relationships at this time when you feel connected, when you are in the connectedness, because that's the true connectedness. The other, this social connectedness, which is just on an emotional level, is just a substitute again. And before it comes to God, and to come back to this topic that most people can't even grasp, you have to forget God first. You will reach him or her or whatever it is later. But first you have to be connected with your higher self, because always the union with God takes place in the higher self, never in the ego. With the ego, as I said, many people discuss about God, think about God, but so they never reach God. Really, you just reach God when you reach your higher self first. And that's the essential message here. And also, you can't just reach good relationships, good partnerships when you first reach your higher self first. And when you are in this inner connectedness, then you get inner peace, inner harmony, bliss. You feel delightful. Everything is fine then in your life. And then automatically you are good with others. And automatically relationships are good. Automatically partnerships running well. So you don't have to give even effort for this. This all comes just from within first. So the very first thing is you just have to continue in meditation and to get the connectedness inside of you, and everything will follow. And even at least when there is the higher self and when you are in the connectedness, then you can also try to connect with God, go in this union, or with old ancient Latin words, unio mystica or contemplatio. And that is enlightenment. And for this all, paradoxically, you have to be alone from time to time. Even if you are in a partnership or in a relationship, you have to be alone minimum 50% that you develop alone, and not always think about the other person and how to change the other person to make a better world, to make a better life, because the others will never change when not you first change. And the change is inside of you, and then everything, as I said, will follow positively. So that's why we work on us and on our self-development, to build up this inner connectedness, this inner development, this connection to our own higher self. And then everything will be automatically there, even the good relationships. And when you are on this way, you can even use your emotions to develop. Still, there are emotions and thoughts. It's not that we abolish them. We are still human. We are not, we are not like superheroes or so. But then when you are on your self-development, emotions appear in a partnership, and you always get them as a chance to develop, as a chance to transcend them, as a chance for another meditation. So this is a good thing. Then you can use the partnership in right ways. And also, if you have a partner which is on the self-development way also, this can even be very supportive when, for example, you are too lazy one day for meditation, then your partner comes, say, hey, let's meditate. So you meditate together. This would be a very wonderful thing when you have a partner on the same way. But also, on the other hand, if you have a partner which is not on the self-development way and not on meditation, not interested in God or in other things, in spiritual things, not going the inner path, is not ready to develop and not willed to work on his self or on herself, then it can be a very big obstacle in your life. But still, then you can develop yourself. But you have to be a little bit more stronger in that case, because the other person appears a bigger obstacle than a supportive person. So you have to deal with it, but possible is everything. The most essential thing just is that you get the connectedness inside, and that you develop and turn inside and develop to connect with your higher self. That's the only and most important thing. Never forget this, and everything will be fine, even a relationship with, in worst case, the worst person on the whole world. It would be possible when you are connected with your higher self. And therefore, I wish you a great meditation success and progress. And have a nice time. See you soon. Bye.